Options can be broadly categorized in three different ways based on the relationship between their strike price and the price of the underlying stock. An option can be in the money, out of the money, or at the money. Let's look at some examples of each using an option chain. First things first, an option chain is a table of information that lists many different options contracts available for an underlying stock. The chain is organized by expiration date and strike price. If you're not sure how to read an option chain yet, watch the lesson that explains how to do this first. And if you're comfortable reading an option chain, then let's keep going. To help us understand when a call is in or out of the money, think of how you phone a friend. You'd call them up. So calls... Hi, Sarah? Yeah, I can't talk right now. Filming a lesson. Okay, bye. So calls are in the money when the current stock price is above their strike price. That means calls in the option chain are out of the money when the current stock price is, you guessed it, below their strike price. An easier one to remember is at the money. An option is said to be at the money when the underlying stock is trading relatively close to the strike price. So where does that leave us with put options? Well, we know that puts are the opposite of calls. So puts are in the money when the current stock price is below their strike price, and out of the money when the current stock price is above their strike price. You can associate put with down if you think about the action of putting something down. In our phone analogy, that means we put the phone down to end a conversation. Let's go back to the option chain to see what this looks like. A put is at the money when the underlying stock is trading relatively close to the strike price. All the puts with the current stock price below their strike price are in the money. And all the puts with the current stock price above their strike price are out of the money. Now, one key thing to consider for both call and put options is that the price of a contract differs depending on its strike price. Call options typically get more expensive the lower the strike price, and put options tend to get more expensive the higher the strike price. This is because the price of an option is the sum of two components, intrinsic value and extrinsic value. Extrinsic is also referred to as time value. The intrinsic value is simply the amount the option is in the money. For example, if you have a call option with a strike price of $50 and the underlying stock is currently priced at $55, the option is $5 in the money. However, the option is currently priced at $7. This additional $2 is the extrinsic value. The extrinsic value is a little more complicated to explain, so we'll save that for a later lesson. Another key thing to keep in mind is that an option being in the money or out of the money doesn't necessarily mean the buyer is gaining or losing money. It's simply a reflection of the underlying stock's current price in relation to the contract's strike price. Alright, that about wraps up the basics of options theory and terminology. In our next lesson, we'll get a little more practical with a look at an options trade ticket. Jack? I don't know Jack.